Evening and welcome. We are back. It's been a little while since we streamed. Sorry about that little false start just before as well, if anyone joined the stream. Just for that little 5-second stream I did. Yeah, we are back. It's been 2 weeks since I streamed. Apologies, I only meant it to be one. I was away on a family trip, but then I got ill. I got a migraine. But I'm back now. Hopefully we'll get an extra stream in this week to make up for the one we missed on Tuesday. But for now, let's just have a little playthrough of one of the tunes we're going to be working on today. Just turn up this master a little bit. Apologies for anyone if it gets a bit loud for you. I'm struggling to hear here. I'm at max output. Yeah, this track's getting there. It's nearly done. I've done quite a lot of processing to it since the last stream. So I was thinking I would show you guys what I'd been up to in regards to this track. Just give you a little pit stop of my kind of standard mixing strategies. Before then moving on to something a bit newer. minutes of our processing power. Just need to turn my fans up, get the CPU cooled a bit. I think this new recording of the whistle sounded pretty cool though. Yeah, that new whistle recording is sounding great. This end section is a bit empty. Cool, yeah. So basically this track is nearly done. There are some things that still need doing. I think some little odd like rises and impacts here and there just to kind of make sure the structure is really doing what I want it to do. And of course this kind of end section is currently a bit empty. But when I get to nearly finished, what I like to do before making the very, very last sounds that I'm going to make is give the track a bit of a mix. Because, as I've said before, sometimes you think a section, you need to write more sounds for a section, but really the issue is just that the sounds that are already there are not really fulfilling their full potential. So giving it a mix can bring every sound out and give you a bit of a better idea what needs doing still and what is fine already, what still needs doing, how much work there still needs to be done on the track. Because sometimes it's kind of hard to know that when the levels are all out of whack. So what I've done is I've gone through and given it a mix, and I thought I'd give you guys, I haven't given it like the full final mix, but I thought I'd just give you guys a bit of the rundown on what I've done to go through the process of starting to mix it. So one of the first things that I've done is I've grouped all the synths. So what I mean by all the synths is we've got the drums and the bass in this group. Kick bass, we've got kick, snare, bass, all in this kick bass group. And that because gives it the kick, the snare and the bass this tight, compact unit kind of feeling, because kick and the bass has got a bit of a compressor on, and that is just kind of gluing it all together. Ableton does have a native plugin called the glue compressor for that exact purpose, but I'm using the FabFilter Pro C. In this group we've got a percussion group with the hats, and some other things, some perks, loops, and things like that. We've got here, is this a crash I'm thinking? Yeah, this is the crash symbol and some reversed crash symbols. And I've got the skank. So what I mean by the skank is this thing. For those of you who are not versed in reggae and ska lingo, that offbeat kind of guitar-y, keyboardy thing, known technically as a skank. So all of these things, if I was to solo everything that's not in this all synths group, what you'll find is that what it is basically the groove. It's the drums, the bass, the percussion, the skank. And then this thing, which is currently turned off. We don't need that. So that is basically not needed. I'm going to delete that track for now. So yeah, everything, that's just basically the groove. Everything else I've put in the all synths group. So this is like everything, all synths, all instruments, everything else that's not the drums, the bass and the skank goes in this group. So that is step one. I just group all the synths. Simple as. And then I'm going to subdivide the synths into 3 groups, which I call melody, synths, and pads. Just need to chuck a log on the fire. Just give us 1 sec. Right, yeah. So the way I group all my synths, we've got melody, synths, and pads, but they might as well be called front, middle, and back, because that's how I treat them. Melody up front, synths in the middle, pads at the back. And that means that when the melody's playing, the synths duck under the melody. And when the synths are playing, the pads duck under the synths. And the pads duck under the melody. So that's how, and I would just group all the synths into these 3 groups, depending on what I think is most appropriate. So we see in the melody, I've got this melody thing going on. You'll notice that I actually don't have very many elements in my melody at all. In fact, there's only 2 things in the melody. And that's because I want to be careful with this, because it's the things that I really want to be right out front of the mix, leading the charge, really. So I've got this melody, and then I've got the whistle line, which, even though there's a bunch of tracks in this whistle group, only one of them is playing. There's no saturation on that whistle, by the way, or drive or anything. Oh, there might be a bit of overdrive, actually. That's just what my whistle sounds like, though. So there's just those 2 in the melody, and that's up front. The synths, there's quite a lot of stuff in. A lot more, because this is the kind of generic group. If anything, I don't want it to be too prominent, or I don't want it to be too out the back, then I just stick it in this group. So there's a lot of stuff going on in here, but it's generally kind of techie stuff is what goes in this one. But yeah, there's all kinds of stuff there. Generally, a lot of different stuff ends up in this group. Including the guitar as well. But I've been thinking about moving the guitar to the melody. So yeah, that's the synths. And then the pads are just anything that just wants to sit behind everything else, you know? So it's like impacts, rises, these kind of chord swells, the drone for the introduction. Let's have a little play. Oh, and I've got this kind of like percussion thing going on in there as well, just because I just wanted that to be behind everything else. So this is kind of how you see that even though I've named the group pads, not everything that ends up in the pads group is a pad. This percussion, this kind of techie percussion has ended up in there as well. Yeah, and then if we still look at the processing for this, what I've got is I've got a Pro MB just to kind of gel the whole thing together, make sure that the mids and the low mids are tidy. And then I've got these track spacers, which is what I'm using for the sidechain. So this is the track spacer on the pads group. But if I was to also solo the melody and play this through, you will see the pads are getting kind of, you get this kind of like bit chiseled out of them so that the melody has the room in the frequency spectrum to really shine through. And if you look on the pads, I've got one of these track spacers sidechain to the melody and another one sidechain to the synths. So the pads give way to synths and melody. If we go into the synths group, we've got the track spacer here, just one track spacer, sidechain to the melody. So the synths will give way to the melody, which means you have this front, middle, back kind of hierarchy system for all the sounds. And yeah, that is one of the first things I do when I come to mix. And then I've, of course, on the All Synths group, I've done quite a bit of processing here just to get the entire soundscape as a unit up to be as present as possible. So we've got a bit of a compressor, and we have a soothe, just ironing out some of the frequencies, especially in the low mid is where I wanted to iron stuff out, because I was getting some peaks there. And then this All Synths is sidechained to the kick and sidechained to the snare. It's pretty standard in dance music. Now, I used to, if I was going to do kind of like pumping dance floor tunes, I'd probably want to use something more like an LFO tool or a duck, or something that just drops the volume of the whole thing altogether, because that really gives you this kind of open and closed pumping effect. Whereas the track spacer, because it's like an adaptive EQ, so it's really got these kind of like frequency specific reductions. I find that for doing like chill out music and stuff that you don't want to pump as much, it's just a bit softer and a bit nicer while still maintaining the clarity of a good sidechain. So we've got the kick, we've got the snare, not doing much currently. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so we got the snare as well. And then back down to the All Synths. The final one that I've got is I've got it sidechained to the skank. Now, this is often kind of situational whether I do this or not. If the skank is not coming through as much as I want, then I put it on. But I would not do this as standard on every single track, just because it can get a bit much sometimes, you know, side chaining everything to everything. But for this one, I wanted the skank to come through a bit more, and it is just like a little tickle compared to the others. It's not as much. So that's the general structure of the synths that I've laid out. And what else have I done? So some of these melodies, I was actually listening to them on my laptop speakers. So I had Ableton open, and I was listening on my laptop speakers. And the laptop speakers, of course, they cut all the sub bass out because they just can't produce those frequencies. They're too small. Laptops are too flat. And there were all these kind of resonant frequencies in the low mids in both the whistle and this melody here. Although this melody, the resonant frequencies were more in the mid-mids. So I've done quite a bit of work in EQs, just doing some like adaptive EQs around the area where I want to drop it out. And this has kind of just like brought all these kind of real resonant frequencies just like in line a bit more. Can't get it perfect like that. So there is still some work I need to do, kind of going in, kind of cutting out bits and adjusting the gain manually, as I've done with this bit here. There'll be a lot more of these kind of little cutouts here and there. It's not perfect, but it's a lot closer than it was. And likewise on the whistle. Where is it? Where is the place where I've been working? Here? Possibly here. One of these EQs, I swear I had a ton of adaptive EQs. Although I might have ended up taking them off in the end. Look at this one. No, not too much processing, but I did spend ages working out what the best thing to do was. And I ended up just doing, by the looks of things, just this slight adaptive EQ around here. But that has brought it really back in line, this whistle part, because again, we were getting some mad resonant frequencies in the low mids. I think that's sounding pretty cool. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing on this. The next step, as I say, is to make risers, impacts, more pads. There is, for instance, in fact, one idea I had just as we were listening to it before, because we've got this end section, which has not really got a lot going on at the moment. But there's things we could do. Like this chord pad thing. It's very nice and chill, so this could go like it. I think this as well, these kind of scratchy percussion sounds could potentially be quite cool. I often find this is, the endings are a lot easier to do than the beginnings because you've already got a ton of cool stuff that you've made that you're happy with from the intro or from the first section or the breakdown or wherever that you can kind of copy across and very quickly kind of construct an outro. Sometimes you need to go and make one or two extra sounds, but often I find the outros come together very quickly and easily. About maybe some of the guitar in this last bit as well. That'd be cool. Which would be in the synths. Okay, so that would be this here. Let's try to copy that across. Yeah, very nice. You see, by mix and matching elements from earlier in the tune, you can actually come up with something that is quite different from the rest of the tune. Need to work out how to end this chords now. It's quite sudden at the moment. Could be a bit tricky, that actually. Not really having a great effect, that. Yeah, that's a bit better. I don't want to spend too long on this though today. on this outro, because it's not too... It'll come together easy. Hopefully next time you guys hear this track, it will be finished. So one of the other things I wanted to have a look at was that someone wanted me to go over, you know, this kind of percussion sound. There was someone in the comments last time I worked on this track on stream who wanted me to go over how I'd made this sound, which I can do. I'll have to open this. Cool, so while we're waiting, what I would like to do is announce that we have a Discord server. Which Fallen Leaf, who is a absolute legendary regular here on the channel, has been helping to set up. In fact, he just has set it all up. He's been really great about it. Even though I've been useless this week and had a migraine and not responding to anything. He's been on it, which is great. And you should come and join us, because we'll be chatting there. I just need to work out how to link the server. Come join us on the server. Oh. Let's see if this works. Even have the right chat going on. I had a dead chat on screen. Not that the real chat's any livelier today. Don't know where everyone is. I guess because I haven't been streaming for a couple of weeks. It drops you off the algorithm, doesn't it? So no one's seeing me anymore. Oh well. I hope you guys catch the VOD after. I don't see my tap coming. Yeah, so if I do that, that's just Discord, isn't it? How do I copy an invite to the server? Well, we have a server. I'll tell you what. Damn it. Add me on Discord. And I'll add you to the server if you want to join us there. We will be discussing things. Music production related. And we will have, all kinds of stuff going on there by the looks of things. Fallen Leaf's planned some excellent stuff. You can share your music. You can send stuff to me during the stream. You can send stuff for me to listen to. We can hang out, chat, all things Psy music. Yeah, we're just trying to get the community up and running a little bit, basically. So if you fancy hanging out with us, come join us there. Right, so we've got this track loaded, and this is the drum rack that I made this sound. So let's just remind ourselves what the actual sound was that we're talking about here. And it's this little doozy. And what it is it is a drum rack. And you can see here, there's just a single MIDI note hitting the drum rack. And you can see, in terms of all the samples that I've got selected, is bang, in the middle. And that is because, I'll show you why I've done that. So I've got an arpeggiator. So this just keeps doing a MIDI note every 16th note. And then I've got this Ableton MIDI plugin, which is a randomizer. Now what this does, is clues in the name, it randomizes the note that is being played. So every time a MIDI note hits, which is triggered by the arpeggiator, every 16th note, it will randomize the note that is being played. And the range of the randomization depends on what's going on here. So you can see here at the bottom where it says sign, it goes add, sub, or by. Now this is whether it is changing the note to one above the note that's in the MIDI, that's add, whether it's below the note being played by the MIDI, that's sub, or whether it's either side, and that's by, and that's the one that I've gone for. I'm getting notifications from somewhere, but I cannot, for the life of me, work out where they're coming from. Interesting. Shout outs in the chat if you're trying to actually, if you're trying to get in touch with me and where I'm getting those notifications from, because I ain't got a clue. Anywho, yeah, so what this randomization does is, you see, I've got the choices set to 3. So this will choose at random from 3 semitones above the played MIDI note or below it. That's what this by is. So there's a range of 7 altogether. 3 above, 3 below, and the note being played. And we have 7 samples. So we know that one of these 7 samples will get chosen at random every time a note is played. We've got it's like different kind of sounds. Oop, different kind of sounds going on here. Nothing too crazy. Right, after that, really one of the cruxes of this sound is the beat repeat. The beat repeat is a fantastic plugin. If I turn it off, you can hear it's just random straight beat. And then if we turn it on, you'll be able to hear what this actually does to it. This is kind of like gated, kind of glitchy almost effect sometimes. And the way yeah, it can take a little bit of twiddling to get the beat repeat to do this kind of thing from the initialized patch when you load it in fresh. And one of the first things to do is when you get let me load up a fresh beat repeat here next to this one so you can see how you get from the initialized patch to the one that I've got. So the first thing I would say is you want to change it from mix to instrument. If you have it on mix, then the repeated content will be added in on top of the audio that's already playing. The instrument, when you set it to that, will replace any audio that is playing with the repeated audio coming out of the beat repeat. And this kind of keeps your levels a lot tighter. For me, I think when people go to load up the beat repeat, I think the instrument is a lot more what they're looking for, generally speaking. So I would recommend doing that. The initial patch is also set to a bar for the interval, which is incredibly long. I usually have it set to, an 1/8, a 16th, something a bit shorter. What I would say for the interval is you want it to be at least 2 of what you've got your grid set to. So if you've got your grid set to 16ths, you want your interval to be an 1/8, because you need enough time for the grid subdivision to repeat at least twice in order to create the beat repeat effect. Now, sometimes you want it to repeat it more, 4 times or something like that. So you'd want to set it to maybe a quarter note. But having it up at a bar is just quite ridiculously long. And the gate is the other variable you want to think about here. So I would set the gate probably to, if I have the intervals, if I have the grid at a 60 and the interval set to an 1/8, I would set the gate to 2/16, because that's the length of the interval. These 3 variables kind of confusing, to be honest. Not the most intuitive, but if you sit there and play with them for a while, you will start to understand how they kind of interact with each other. And one of the key things to creating this kind of like very kind of evolving kind of beat repeats, glitchy kind of effect is this variation thing. So what it does is basically it creates variations on the grid subdivisions. It won't vary your interval. It will vary your grid subdivisions. So if you've got a grid subdivision of 16ths, and then you've got it varying kind of randomly like that, which is what happens when you turn up the variation, then sometimes it'll play 32 divisions, but it won't. It will still fill out the interval. So it would play 32. It would play 4 32 divisions as opposed to 2/16 or 1/8. So yeah, hopefully from just showing you, even if you just screenshot and look at these side by side and take one into the other, you'd be able to work out how I've made this beat repeat patch. I've pretty much, for me, beat repeat's a one-trick pony. It's cool what it does, but this patch is basically the good patch. Everything else, it's kind of variations on this. If I turn this variation down here, oh, it's got a bit of automation still, has it? No, don't know why it's still doing that. Oh, we got the LFO here, randomly altering the grid variations as well. If we turn the variation up, give us that nice glitchiness. Cool. And then after that, it's just, it's EQ, compressor, just a nice low cut. And then I just put a flanger and a phaser on the end and just had to mess around with that. And it gives it this kind of like nice kind of evolving quality. I've found that, especially with these kind of like short repeats, like the glitchy kind of effects, having a flanger is pretty nice. But to be honest, after this EQ and compressor, I would say any effects you put here are just experimental, to your own taste. See what you like. Have fun with it. And that is how I made this sound. So I hope that sated your curiosity, whoever was asking about it. And then, of course, when I've edited it, I've added a big reverb on. I've cut it up quite a lot just to get the best bits. So yeah, whoever was curious about that, that's how I made it. Cool, right, we're going to move on to this new tune that we're starting. So, my good friend, Dido Dadouche, awesome name. Otherwise known as Cosmic Phase, which is also an awesome name. Awesome names all round. We have done, in the past, one collaboration released on Mystic Sound, I believe. No, not Mystic Sound. Released on Mindspring as part of a collaboration, a compilation. And it turned out great. That tune's called Just Beyond the Horizon, one of the most popular tunes on my SoundCloud. It was just a really cool collaboration. I met Dido when I went to play in Israel. Oh, it was like 2018, 2019 time. Can't remember now. And I stayed at Dido's house. He was a really great host, lovely to meet. We spent some time in the studio there. Fantastic gig. Met some awesome people there. Really was an eye-opening trip. But so we have decided we're going to do another collab. And it's going to be a bit of a slow burner. It's going to take a while. And Dido has just made some basic starting points for us, including a snare, including a kick, and some percussion, and then some strange kind of weird chordsy things, and some shakers. Very, very basic as things stand. But that's cool, and also kind of maybe quite good for a collab, because now I get to come in and mess around with some of these elements and see what I can do with them. So I'm going to mute the chordy things at the moment and just work with the drums for now. Well, I get to make a nice bass line as well. He's left us that to do. So here we go. So we can see here we've got a kick, which is looking pretty nice. I'm going to check the length of it, because if we look at the length, I generally like to make kicks exactly like half a beat long or a quarter beat long or something like that, just so they interact nicely with the bass line. This one, we can see here, goes slightly over that. So I'm just going to, I think, recreate the drum pattern, but using samples so I can get it super clean doing it this way. Because not only can I like make the length exactly what I want it to be, but you see here, we've got two kicks right after each other. Now the second kick hits before the first kick has finished, which means there's probably going to be some overlap of these two kick sounds. Unless Dido's done something to avoid this himself. Let's have a look what we got here. Yeah, they are a bit different. Slightly added. So here, instead, because I'm just working with one kick sample, I can just cut the audio off so there's no overlap between the two kick samples. It's a lot cleaner. I don't generally do this myself, but because we've got everything in audio, I have the opportunity to make it that clean. So why would I not do that? And also, the other thing is, there's a snare hitting right there, which also might interfere with the kick. So I'm going to cook the kick off before the snare hits as well. I need to work out at what point does this pattern repeat, because I don't want to be, ideally I don't want to be like writing this entire thing in again. And I think it repeats here. Like thus. Yeah. See, we've got some variations there. Yeah, nice percussion line. Yep, cool. Very nice clean drums there. Very nice clean kick. We could not have it cleaner. We've got it the right length. We've got nothing overlapping with anything else. Good stuff. Let's have a look at what we're peaking at here. Let's get the Pro Q. Oops, did not want to do that. Habits, eh? Force of habits. Looks like we're peaking at around -8. Going to turn this down probably about 5 dB, I think. And if I'm going to do that, I'm going to turn everything down. By 5. Just to retain the frequency balance. We turn everything down for gain staging purposes. If we have everything super loud, then the levels, it's not the optimum levels in plugins. Plugins are meant to operate in a certain range. The extremities of that range, they don't work as well, basically. I know, because I know a lot of people say, oh, it doesn't matter that things clip on Ableton because it records everything in 32-bit. So theoretically, it can't clip. But plugins can clip. Cool. I like this snare. So this is the kick. Snare's sounding really cool. Going to turn it down a bit in relation to the kick there. It is a cool snare. I'm going to do some stuff to it though. Sorry, Dido. So, yeah, I think an EQ. We want a ooh, we got a transient shaper. I still haven't installed my Trans-X Multi since the reinstall of everything. But the Kilohertz transient shaper is pretty good. Cannot complain. Might take a little bit of this stuff. And I am gonna put this through a saturation knob just to bring the whole thing in a bit. Sounds like it might have already been through one a little bit. I'm also going to do my noise trick, but I'm only one of the noise layers. So on the last stream I did, I think I was doing Psybass, wasn't I? And I went through my whole Psybass snare procedure, my recipe. And using these kind of like noise, these white noise elements to just beef the snare up can be highly advantageous. Obviously not like that. We're going to frequency modulate this waveform. We're going to have a very, very short decay. Subtle, but for me, it just adds that solid transient, you know? Just makes it a little, just cut through, well, not a little bit, cuts through the mix big time when you do this. And the thing is as well, you kind of want that noise to be going through the, yeah, there we go. Because we want it to go through the transient shaper and the saturation to really bring it out. Let me just put a little limiter on the master, just so we can maintain the levels for the stream. Without clipping. Cool. So I'm going to turn the snare down. You can see here, the snare's kind of louder than the kick, which is not what we want. Oh gosh. Bunch of viewers just arrived. Hello, folks. About time someone showed up, eh? It's just been me here for ages. Cool, so. We can make a bass line, which is fun. Let's bring myself up a reactor. What's going on here? There we go. And we will initialize Razor, my favorite bass synth. Now, what I'm going to do immediately upon loading in Razor is I'm going to EQ out the weird, really high frequency that Razor always produces. I'll show you what I mean in a sec, actually. Let's just get some MIDI. I was thinking maybe G for this, we'll see. If I write in a note, you'll be able to see in a sec. I'll just add a bit of a filter to it, just... Cool, we've got a filtered sawtooth, all well and good. But if I go in here, oh, it's not doing it this time. Great. Often you get this like one frequency just up at like above 15 kilohertz, which needs EQing out. I'm going to do that now because it will probably turn up at some point. Cool. All right, we've got it's just something to get our teeth stuck into. Yeah, I like that little rhythm. Right, and I'm going to use pitch bend for some of this. Uh-huh. Interesting. I don't understand why I cannot see the end of this clip. It's really annoying. Where is it? Why can't I just like go to the right a little bit? I want the end of my MIDI clip. Yeah. Hey, Charlie, how's it going, man? Nice to see you. What I'm up to, starting a new collab with my friend Dido. I know that Thursdays are usually the Altera day, but because everything's just been a bit messed up at the moment, I thought I would do some tea tree today and then maybe do a stream this weekend to work on some Altera stuff. Do you know what? I'm not sure about this double kick straight away. I think it's a bit much. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's going to be a slow burner collab. We've been trying to get the time to do another one for ages. And I mean, I'm ridiculously busy doing the Altera album, doing a Tea Tree EP and things like that. But, you know, we'll start it and it'll get finished when it gets finished. Got a lot of skin in the game in order to finish anything. Oh, I like that. Yeah, okay. Sorry, me doing little chuckles is like when I get little ideas. Sometimes I like amuse myself. Getting some weird kind of pops at the beginning and end of stuff. I'm just going to increase the attack and release. I'm just experimenting here at the moment, to be honest. Nothing too technical going on. Just following my nose. I like this though, yeah. Let's see what that does. Go from the beginning, feel the flow. Something a little bit like this. We get some like shorter notes. Yeah. Hey, Cyber, how's it going? Nice of you to show up. That's cool. Sorry, that sounded a bit weird. Oh, nice of you to show up. No, I genuinely appreciate it. Well, it has been a quiet stream today. Just making it a nice bass line. This envelope right on the end of this is still not doing. It's not amazing. About something like this. Kind of all right. That's not right. It needs to be there. Cool. Let's have a listen to this bad boy. Seems to me there's a slight groove. There's a slight swing on it, which is cool. I like it. I hadn't noticed it before now though. Yeah, it's kind of cool. What happens if I duplicate this and like do some more kind of like rinsing kind of filter stuff? Try that. With this, so that I don't... Sounds great, love the drums. Yeah, so it's Dido, Cosmic Phase, who made basically everything in this, apart from the bass line. And then all I've really done to this as well is just like dialed in like the lengths of some of the kicks. That's it. So yeah, he's done a pretty cool job with the initial sounds for the track. Cool. For this reactor, the one that I'm messing around with for the higher sounds, I'm going to cut the sub out of it. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, some pretty cool sounds in terms of some of the bits coming out of this. So let's just get some of these recorded in, I think, so I can start using them to build the groove. Kind of sparse sounds in here. Some very lovely bits here and there. What I've forgotten to do something that I will need to go back and redo this. But we'll keep this bit because there are some cool bits in it. What I want to do is go into these reactors, and because it's the bass, I want to make it single trigger. What that does is that phase locks the waveform, so that every time you press the note, it will start at the exact same point in the waveform, because otherwise you'll get these random variations, which are disadvantageous. So as soon as we've already just recorded one of those, let me just go in and alter some of the parameters just so that it is a little bit different. Always nice to have kind of different things going on each time. Cool bits. Oh yeah, nice. Don't know what that was, but I'm keeping it. Cool. Okay. I guess I'll just go in and quickly edit these two. Very cool, but a bit on the quiet side. I think turn that up will make it a lot more impactful. All these sounds seem really nice. This one at the end, which is barely audible. Nice sounds. I like these sounds a lot. Get rid of that, because this one's just really nice. I don't want anything to interfere with how nice this one sounds. Interesting, maybe. Yeah. Like this one. Don't like that one. Like that, but it's too loud. Yeah, cool. So there's some bits here which inspire me to kind of like repeat quite a few times to make a groove out of. Let's see if I can find the bits. Yeah, here we go. This is it. think what I want to do is put these here. And to these, I'm just going to put them all through a little bit of saturator, glue them all together. No. Get rid of that. Cool. So we got a little something going on now. Yeah. It's pretty silly, really. Let's go from the beginning and edit this one down. I think this is going to be pretty cool though with these two sounds. Fallen leaf. A long and ruling shift. Sounds hit and miss, to be honest. The long part sounds bad, but the ruling part sounds pretty good. Hope you're doing well, Fallen Leaf. To be honest, I already plugged the Discord server, but there was no one here, so hopefully people will listen back to it on the VOD. But yeah, Fallen Leaf has set up our budding community, for our budding community, a Discord server, and he's put in a decent amount of work. It's been great. Despite me being kind of out of action this week and not being very good at responding to messages because I've had a banging migraine. But Fallen Leafs has set up the Discord server. If you would like to join it, I have put my Discord name earlier in the chat. Add me and I'll add you to the server. I don't really know if it's possible to put a direct invite link to the server in the chat. I've tried, have a look. I couldn't work it out. If it's possible to do that, that would be good. This is a brand new collab with Dido Dadouche, otherwise known as Cosmic Phase. It's cool. Yeah, cool. Some of these bits at the beginning could form their own kind of groovy bits. Oh, come on, Ableton. Don't be a dick about it. Let me select bar 0. That's a direct join link. What's a direct join link? Did you send it to me somewhere else? Sounding very nice and squelchy. I've barely done anything at the moment. So I'm glad it's already sounding decent. Not sure about that first one. I think from here, not even sure about that either. Yeah, this is what I mean. I tried to post it and it just did not work. This is cool. Okay. So Fallen Leaf has sent me the invite link. Is this going to work? Does that work as an invite link for the server? Indeed it does. There we go. So if you're watching to this on replay, go into your live chat. There is a link to an invite to our Discord server, which is good stuff. See, this here sounds extremely cool. I'm worrying about trying to utilize it further. Yeah. So many of these sounds have turned out to be incredible, to be honest. Okay, cool. This little interaction here is pretty nice. Let's go from here and see how that flows. very good. How long is this? This is a minute long, this section. So I'm wondering about kind of repeating this here. So that it gives us a minute and a half-ish first section, which we've got to be quite good. You've got a cup of fallen leaf. Excellent. I'm jealous. All I've got is a bottle of whiskey. Which is not bad, to be fair. Not a bad state of affairs. That's not a tea. No, it's like the opposite of tea, isn't it? But I've been enjoying just a little drama here and there recently in the depths of winter. What I want to make next, I think, is like some RP kind of effects. I think, which is cool. Let's just something new, I think. Get a nice, yeah, something soft waveform for us to just write some MIDI with. Yeah, something a bit tonal, just so it grounds us in the key. At the moment, it's all a bit kind of squelchy and low. Yeah. Let's get ourselves an arpeggiator. That's pretty cool, actually. Let's see what Fallen Leaf's got for us in the funny things chat. Okay, nice one, yeah. I like your memes, Fallen Leaf. You guys can all enjoy Leaf's memes if you join our Discord server. I'm especially enjoying the Dill Piccolo meme. Okay, cool. Let's see what we can do with this kind of MIDI pattern. that. Kind of like the slow sweep as well, to be honest. Thinking I might utilise that. Okay, this one, I really like it, but I need to like make something different first. Yeah, so that's really cool. I'm going to save that, but just for now, because this one I want to have in like the second half, I think. I think to start off with, I want to have something a bit more plinky plonky, a bit more chill. Which means not this waveform. Okay, this one probably wants to be more like a random. Yeah, there we go. Love this harmonic series waveform. Yeah, something melodic, kind of like grounds you more in the key. Hang on a sec. This randomizer is just being weird. I don't understand why it won't. You see what I mean? It's just not really doing it. Why is it being a weirdo about it? There we go. Just needed a bit of a sync. And I think this has just got way too much feedback. Yeah, there we go. Ableton has the cool toys for this. Yeah, it does. Can't really complain about the Ableton options for this kind of stuff. Yeah, this one could be like a step as well, like a sample and hold, so that every single note, because we're doing 16th notes, because every single note has a different value. Ooh, that's nice. But what I'm thinking of doing is recording it without the delay and then recreate that delay in a send so that I can record it to audio and then edit out the good bits before it gets sent to the delay. So if I was to like try and recreate that delay here with something like a replica, which is a nice clean. Oh, I should have saved before I loaded that. I should always save before I load replica. Oh well, it worked out all right. Yeah, I'm gonna record that. I like it. Oh, that opening was insane. Oh. All right, cheers, guys. This track has got a very slight swing on it as well, so I need to remember after I've recorded everything to apply the groove to it. Son, lovely of you to stop by. Catching us just towards the end, as per. Yeah, that was great. Really cool stuff. What I want to do, though, is try and make it so it's got this kind of like floaty kind of beddy pad going on. Every now and then I want it to be like and like have these little runs up and stuff. So I'm going to try and like make this Vital do that now. Nice tune, Sohan. Thank you very much. This is a collab with Cosmic Phase. He made the kind of drum pattern, and then I've made the bass line today, and now I'm just making a few sounds for it. So, thinking is something like this. I wouldn't have it every time, but like every 4 bars or so, it goes all the way up. Yeah, it'd be sick. I like it. So let's record in some of those. It'll be a bit repetitive on the recording, but never mind. That's enough of that. I don't want to listen to it anymore. A lovely sound, but when you've listened to it 20 times, it's like, oh, come on. Right, where else are we going from here? I think we want something that is not this harmonic series thing anymore. And I might switch the notes up a little bit. Add something extra in. Yeah, we'll go for more of like a random thing now. Oh, that's cool. Nope. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the razor thing. You know what the razor thing is, right? You'll soon find out. Yeah. Razor thing, you love it, Fallen Leaf, don't you? Just like fills in all the gaps really nicely with just juicy goodness when you do the razor thing. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, Razor's just like instant good sound. Well, I found it doesn't have a lot of range, so you can make the nice squelchy, woobby kind of dance music sounds, but it's not as good at doing like intricate melodies or arpeggiators and stuff like that. It's still pretty, you can still do it. Picked up Razor on Knob Cloud for a tenner. Amazing. That is a pretty sick deal, I've got to say. If you've already got Reactor, obviously. Reactor's like hundreds of pounds. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I paid like 80 quid for it or something. That's insane. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to do, just before I recorded some of the Razor thing, is this Vital thing. I thought it was a pretty cool waveform. I just wanted to do something a little bit with it. Cool, yeah, so get the filter. I'll just have a little filter this in. Like this. Oh no, have all these finished a bar early? What the hell's happened here? Damn. For some reason, this is going on an extra bar. Don't know why. What have I just turned on? I can hear myself. I don't understand. Okay, that's better. Okay, back to the reactor thing, because this thing works kind of fine. Maybe a little bit of the filter cut off just up a little bit to start with, just so it's not so subtle when it comes in. You don't need full reactor, you can get the free player, I think, for Razer. Okay, back to the Razer thing that I was in the middle of. Sorry for being a little bit ADHD about this. I mean, this is cool. Not into that so much. What about the Centroid I use all the time, Metal I use all the time. Stiff string, what does that do? It's pretty cool. Not sure it's that cool though. Record some in. Oh, first off, let's get rid of the sub bass out of this. I have to do it sooner or later. Yeah. Very good start. Oh, these grid ones are really nice. Nice and wobbly. cool. Okay. Fine. Yeah. I think what I also want to do is like same thing again, but with more of an octave up. So if I added the second oscillator and put it up the octave, it's got this kind of like brighter sound to it. Then if I do oh yeah, nice. It's like, it's pretty mental. I think there'd be some like nice bits in there. Also would be nice if maybe there was like a formant to cycle through. Maybe not. Maybe it wouldn't be nice if there was a formant to... Yeah, that is cool. Okay, so that's something. That will be fine. We'll, are there any festivals that you guys did play or recommend? Are you in the UK or in Europe? Because Tea Tree, Altera Project, I'm not sure if I should actually tell you where we're performing until it's been announced by the festival. I'm not sure if that's okay. But I would recommend Magicana Festival in the UK, and I would recommend potentially Existence Festival, which I didn't go to last year, but it looked pretty good. So we'll see, but I think they might be in a bit of trouble already. Existence, and it's brand new, so it doesn't bode well. Germany based. Ooh. I mean, in Poland and the Czech Republic, festivals Urajisko in the Czech Republic, Urajisko in Poland and UFO Bufo in Czechia. Both really nice, kind of smallish, lovely festivals. Definitely would recommend. Other than that, it depends what you're into, really. If you're into like forest, high tech, or if you're into like prog. In terms of down tempo festivals in the UK, you're looking at Magicana, which is a tiny festival in Wales, and you're looking at Soulfest, which is a bit of a bigger one in the kind of northwest. But it's not all Psy, it's more like kind of folk punk Psybass is Soulfest. Amazing festival though. It's got an incredible stage called the Palladophonics, run by the greatest promoter in the north of the UK, Hannah Appleyard. And it's just a lovely space, lovely vibe. I would recommend that massively. But if you're looking for pure Psy music, it's not that. It's a mix. I'm going to put this through a infiltrator. Okay, I need to like write down the plugins that I've not yet installed. So it's this. Oh, that's just this is going to be glitch 2. There was one that I went for earlier. Oh, Transx Multi, which is a Waves thing. I need to reinstall those. Really like this vocoder, but again, it's kind of like a one-trick pony, you know. But yeah, I'm going to record some of it. It's so cool. I can't not record it, really. You're into Psydub, Psybass, downtempo, really creative psytrance, stuff like that. Yeah, as I say, it's kind of hard to find just like dedicated festivals for our kind of music. There was a really fantastic one in the UK called Anthropos, and it was wall-to-wall 2 stages of Psybass, and it was incredible. But I mean, that was just the first one was like 2019. They tried to do it again. They did do it again in 2022, and it was great. But I just think the whole COVID lockdown thing just killed them, unfortunately, because it was possibly my favourite festival ever. Right, I'm going to find one more cool sound, and I'm going to record it, and then that's going to be it for today, I think. Just try and get myself back into it, not overface myself. Ooh, there we go. As I say, I'll hopefully get another stream in before the end of the week. Yeah, the Discord link is in the chat if you go back, but you can get the live chat up on the VOD, which I would recommend that you do. Glade Festival was incredible. Oh my god, what a festival. I heard a rumor. Now this is literally just a rumor. I've got no way of corroborating this, nor can I tell you what the source was. But do you remember the origin stage from Glade? As in the main Psytrance stage from Glade? They, from what I hear, might be starting a festival again. Because of the downfall of Noisily. So Noisily is, for the past ages, has been the greatest kind of high production value festival in the UK. It's you know, like amazing decor, the greatest sound systems, the biggest international artists. And that is what Noisily has been for the past decade or so. And Noisily has been bought by Live Nation and immediately shut down. So now Noisily is no more, and it is gutting. I used to do sound tech on the Circus stage at Noisily, and that was like my yearly gig, super fun. It was awesome, and I think that's probably the downfall of Noisily. Is I think is probably why the old Glade guys have decided to get something back up and running, because we need that one festival in the UK, you know, which is the high production values, brings the whole national scene together. We need it, and I really hope that the Origin stage can get something back together again. All right, back to the sound that I'm making. Okay, this sounds mental, but I am going to record it. Do we like Samantha? Just have an Yeah, absolute chaos. Oh, this sound is making me chuckle. It's just kind of nonsense. In a good way, in the best possible way. For the last sound to bounce of the stream. Ain't that a Bobby Dazzler? Discord link says you're not allowed. That's interesting. Have you signed in a Discord account? So yeah, before next week, I'll give these sounds at least a once through edit, just so you're not sat there watching me boringly edit out a load of really crappy sounds. Thanks for turning up again, guys. It's been really cool. Nice to get back into the streams after a couple of weeks. Oh gosh, I was really gutted when I couldn't do it earlier this week. So yeah, I'm hoping to get another one in before the end of the week. Hope to see you guys on the Discord server. I'll pop my head in there here and there. Oh, and if ever you guys want like patches that I'm making, like if there's something that I'm working on, you like save that patch and give it to me, or a sample or something like that you want me to pop in the Discord server, I can do that. That's a space for me to do that for sure. So I would recommend joining the Discord server, and then we can have greater interactivity on the streams as well, because people can send me audio. I can give samples that I've made or patches that I've made to the community, etc., etc. And yeah, nice one, guys. It's been a lot of fun. I'll catch us on the next one.